Good morning, guys. Uh, Today I'm going to show you uh, or perhaps guide you through the uh, process of hacking web applications, specifically related to some very known vulnerabilities such as SQL injection and cross-site scripting. Okay, so let's start this one. So I'm going to use the Kali Linux. I'll log on this one as usual. And we will have three targets. Number one is this one, the Hack Me Ban. This is Hack Me Ban. And the second one is Joomla. And the third one is badstore.net. Okay, so let's look at our lab setup. Okay, so here, as I mentioned earlier, that we have three targets. Target number one is the Hack Me Ban version 2. Target number 2 is Joomla CMS. And target number 3 is the badstore.net. Okay, so the expected result on this one, this particular web application hacking, uh, is more about finding known vulnerabilities related to the OWASP SANS/CWE top 25 and the web AppSec. So most common vulnerabilities will be related to SQL injection, cross-site scripting, broken authentication, and so on and so forth. I'm having a short throat here. Excuse me. So stages, let me explain to you the stages. Number one, step number one, or stage number one, we will do the information gathering or application analysis. Stage number two, we will go for the vulnerability scanning. And step number three, we will do manual exploitation. All right, so let's check our website. Yeah, so these are three vulnerable websites, yeah, or vulnerable applications. So we start with the scanning this Hack Me Ban with OWASP ZAP. So we'll run this OWASP ZAP. Takes a while to load. Okay, so let's enter the URL of the website, or the website, and select attack. Let me bring this one down and then click attack. Okay, while this one is running, let's try to launch another one. If we can actually launch multiple instances so that we can do simultaneous scan with or to different website. It looks like it does not actually accept. Oh yeah, okay, great. It's possible to actually launch another instance of OWASP ZAP. I'm going to scan the second website, which is the Joomla. I'll copy this one. I will do the exact scanning using OWASP ZAP. And enter the URL and start scanning. And for the third one, I will also launch the third instance of this OWASP ZAP. Takes a while to launch again. So if you're running Kali Linux on virtual machine, whether it's a VirtualBox or VMware workstation, you could actually allocate more memory or RAM for the Kali Linux to run with full speed. You need to have a high, big size of RAM so that you can actually run multiple virtual machines at the same time on your laptop or PC. So let's scan the third one. Oh, sorry. Supposed to be, let me check. Supposed to be 253, which is actually the bad store. And click attack. All right, let's check the result on the first scan. It's still running. Looks like it's still running, or perhaps already done. Let me see. Oh, still 4%. Let's move on to the second one. Also still running, 11%. All right. So this is actually the first step on doing both information gathering and application analysis, also vulnerability scanning. You could also do the information gathering while you're actually doing the vulnerability scanning, but the best is of course follow the stages. Yeah, so I could use the information gathering using the web web, for example, which I already taught you previously. Let's say web web. Let's say this one. Yeah, I could also run another new window, and I'll scan the second our second website, or the first in fact. Okay, copy this one. And the other one for Joomla. So this is what you need. So here, at least we can find out the information about our target, such as this one. Hackme Bank website is running ASP.NET. It's actually also running Microsoft IIS version 6. And what else? For the second one, Joomla, it's actually running Apache 2.2.9, and Solidity is running Joomla 1.5. This is actually quite enough. By using this information, you could in fact do more what do you call this, information gathering using different tools, but because of the limitation of the time or time limitation, I would just explain or guide you through the use of web and Joomla, and of course the manual exploitation later on. So let me bring the OWASP Zap, see if it is already done with the scanning. Still running, still take a while to finish. This one also, this one also. Now, so basically using these two different tools, like for example, web and the OWASP Zap, you could actually do the information gathering as well as vulnerability scanning. to find vulnerabilities on the target websites. Okay, so while this one is running, let's do our manual exploitation. Yeah, manual expectations does not actually requires you to use any tool. You can do something like the normal one. Okay, let's start with I already have a note on this one. Let me just open it. So admin bang. Yeah, so this is just to give an idea. Okay, number one is we can use the union select, or just use a simple one, single quote or 1 = 1, so to bypass the login. Okay, so single quote or 1 = 1 dash dash, and then you can try to log on using the same one, single quote or 1 = 1 dash dash, and see if we can log on, right? Okay, bingo, right? Okay, that's exactly the same as what I did in my previous video. But let's see, we can actually do something else. Yeah, let me copy and paste this one using the union select. Yeah, this is actually the process using these scripts. Yeah, from here to here, it allows us to actually, I would say, grab the information about the backend database. Yeah, including having to know the tables. The expected result is something like this. Yeah, this is the table name. These are the column names. Yeah, so for example, I'll start with this one. Okay, then I'll copy this to this one and click submit. Okay, do you see that we have this FSB users shown, and also the username? So this is actually the FSB users is the table name, while the username is actually the column name. Okay, so by having username in this particular result, we could actually continue with the second one. Yeah, using the user ID, username, or whatever. Yeah, or we can just select oh, I forgot to mention that you could actually start by typing let me see. Okay, so we'd start with this one without having anything. So for example, without the group by, you just type having. Okay, so I copy this one. I will start with this one, so that you will know the result. Okay, so just back, and this is the first step that you need to do to extract information about the tables and the table and the columns. Okay, now we got onion select from SFSB user. Oh, okay, sorry. I think I need to use the single quote. You can use any user, in fact, single quote, or perhaps I just put admin single quote, or admin single quote, or 1 = 1 dash dash. Let me see. I'm not sure on this one. I can't really remember where we could actually start. Yeah. Because we need to actually okay guys, I think I did a mistake. I could just use the single quote having 1 = 1 dash dash. This is actually the first thing that you need to do. So just copy this one and continue doing this one. Let me go back to the previous one. Okay, do the same thing. So this is actually the SQL command that will allow you to extract some information about the table and the columns. Click submit. See, now we got FSB user, and we got the first column here. As I already mentioned, that FSB users is the table, while the user ID is the column. By using this information, we could actually continue to the second one. You can put any user ID here, like it should not be something that which is that's very obvious, like for example admin. Just copy this one. Okay, and yeah, admin is a very common name, right? So we just copy this one, and we start copying this script to the same one. Let's see what happened. Okay, and click submit. See, now we got the second column. Keep on doing this by adding the user ID and the first column and the second column, and put the having. Copy this one and paste this one to the username, and then click submit. Now we got the third column. Okay, add the third column to our first script and continue doing it, and click submit. We got the fourth column, which is the password. So copy this one, same thing. We got the first column, the second column, the login ID, the third column, and the fourth column. Yeah, keep on adding this and do the same thing. Repeat exactly the same thing. Yeah, the same way. We got creation time, so we can add this one and put it into the next script. Copy this one. I already have that one, and then paste and click submit. Now it says that all queries in an SQL statement containing union operator must have an equal. So we probably have got the table and all columns extracted. So by end of the script, we found FSB user. This is actually the column, the table name, and these are actually the columns. Column number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5. Okay, so we got 5 columns. So this is just an example of the SQL injection, which allows you to extract some information about the table and the columns. All right, so next is I will go for the Joomla. Do the manual exploitation. We can actually find a lot of information from this one. So if you can actually go to this exploit DB, search for all Joomla. So use the search filter Joomla, and you will see that we got a bunch of Joomla components vulnerabilities. You can see it here. Yeah, so because I did some testing already previously. Okay, let me just. Hi guys, I'm back. Sorry about the interruption. Phone was ringing, so I have to pick up the phone, and then anyway, let's check the previous scanning, whether it's still running or not. Let me see. Yeah, still running, so just leave it running for a while. So for the Joomla, I just show you the Joomla, right? So you can search Joomla, yeah, using this exploit database, exploit DB. Although you can actually do the scanning to get some information about the vulnerabilities on this Joomla website, yeah. Okay, our target. You can do the scanning using the Joom scan, which is already pre-installed, or I would say by default installed on Kali Linux. And you just type dash dash help to see the commands. This is where you can actually specify the URL. Okay, so let's do the scanning. Dash dash URL, and you specify you can just copy and paste here from our target machine. Okay, and press enter. It will do the scanning for some known vulnerabilities. So you can see this is a Joomla scan, Joom scan, and processing HTTP Joomla, and you can see that we have core Joomla vulnerabilities like 1.5 beta version, and you can also see the or some vulnerabilities related to plugins like tiny browser, URL directing, and so on. And also checking the Apache, and admin page was found here, and robots.txt is also found, very common in Apache. Now let's look at the vulnerabilities found here. So like it also shows you the CVE as well as the link to actually download exploit or the explanation about the vulnerabilities as well as the exploit. So because I already did the testing and research previously, or before I did the video, oops. So I found vulnerability related to something called AM blog. Let me scroll down and find Joomla AM blog. Of course, in the actual real life, you'll need to actually do the testing on every single excuse me, vulnerabilities and exploit here. So here I found Joomla AM block, which I have already tested previously. So this is actually Joomla component AM block. I can just copy and paste this one, and it actually shows me the multiple SQL injection. So let me minimize this and look at our, so I already downloaded this Joomla AM block multiple vulnerabilities SQL injection, and let's do the manual exploitation while waiting for the scanning to finish. So you copy this one and go to your browser. Yeah, and then paste. Of course, you need to change this to your site. For example, the 131.107.1.250/Joomla. So I can copy this one and then press enter. Oops, I was wrongly typing the Joomla. Right, so I copy this one and press enter. And notice that we could actually see the version number of perhaps the database. So in this case, I could actually use this. I'll create the node for this one. Let's say we just call it as attack. need to copy this one and this one. Yeah. So this is the first thing that you have already tried. This is it actually give me the result of the version number or perhaps the SQL SQL version. Okay, then I could just copy another one from the Joomla AM block that I've shown you earlier. Let me try this one and copy to my attack here. And of course you need to copy this one to replace the set and path with our existing Joomla. Copy this one. Okay, let me just, yeah, I think it was open 2 times, so I need to close one. Leave it right a little bit open and I go back to my browser and paste this one. And notice that, wow, I found an admin username with the password. I believe this is the password. Most likely is this is actually the admin username, and we got this MD5 perhaps, and this is something else like maybe base 64 encrypted password, encoded password. Okay, so you can repeat this to actually test our vulnerabilities. And even the third one here, I'll just change this one, put it here. It becomes the third line. So again, I need to copy this one and copy this one all to this one, and let's try paste this one to our browser. Let's see what we got here. Nothing shown. Yeah. Looks like it's not really running well. I mean, although it says that it's supposed to run. So if I explain to you, this is actually the vulnerability related to the AM block, where we can actually do the injection on this article ID, and we extract the username and the password from database, Joomla database, and the table called JAWS users. This is actually by default created by Joomla during the installation. Okay, so you can see that the result of our exploit script, or the URL that we injected with the script, the SQL script, starting from here, from the union select. Yeah, I can do a wrapping here. Let me see. Yeah, or just leave it like that. It's up to you. So word wrap, it will be showing like this. Yeah. So from the result, I can see that we have successfully let me repeat this one. We have successfully exploited the vulnerability on Joomla, which is actually related to the components called AM blog. So as you can see here, we got an admin, we got a password in different formats. Okay, so I could say that we have successfully exploited one of the vulnerabilities found in this or on this website, right? So that's how we do the SQL injection. So the SQL injection we use on this one, the Foundstone Hack Bang, which actually was installed with the or powered by the backend server, which has the Microsoft SQL Server engine. Is a bit different than when we actually exploited the vulnerability on our Joomla, because Joomla normally take advantage of, or I would say runs the backend database based on MySQL. So this is, as you can see here, is a bit different. This is how you do the injection using the union select and concat. While on the previous example here, the Hackney Bank, which I've already shown you, we start by injecting the single quote having 1 equals to 1 dash dash. Once we got the excuse me, the table name like FSB users, and then we got any of the available variable or column, then we can start injecting using the column, yeah, space having 1 equals to 1, and we repeat the same task by adding the newly found columns such as username, login ID, and password, or even like creation date, to actually extract all of the available columns on our database, right? Now, from here, let me close this one. Let's go back to this attack. Do you know that you could actually use a tool like SQL map to actually do the attack or further attack? We can actually create new window and then run the SQL injection. Yeah, you just type SQL map, then you put the, let me check what is the command for SQL map. Perhaps, if I'm not mistaken, supposed to be SQL map then -u. This is where you specify the oops. Yeah, that's correct. So you have to use the -u to scan for this particular URL which you have taken from the tag script. Yeah. So it takes a while to actually do the scanning with this SQL map, and it is actually an automated scanning tool, but you have to understand how to actually use the options in this or on this particular tool, right? So there is, I could actually show you something. Let me check if my Windows let me check if my Windows 7 testing tool is on. Okay, restoring virtual machine, have to wait for a while. Okay. Now here, once we have this Win 7, in this example I have the tool called Havich, which is already pre-installed. Yeah, here Havich is actually a very good tool which can be used to allow the attacker to just inject or an attack the target. So let's copy and paste the, I will do the paste on this one using my previous link. This one, this is an example of the target that we can inject, and then it's GUI is very nice where you can actually do the analyze and attack. So the advanced SQL injection tool called Havich. Click analyze and see what we got here. Wow, it actually identifies that the server DB service MySQL and the current database is Joomla DB. Now from there, do you know that you can actually click on the tables here to actually generate the tables or get other DBs or even get the columns or the data, right? So you just click on the get DB. Perhaps we can find different DBs. Or here we found information schema DB, DVWA DB, MySQL, and so on. So From here, you could just, okay, let's say, as an example, we could actually extract the tables from this Joomla DB by clicking on Get Tables. So convenient. So as you can see here, we can actually get a lot of what do you call these tables. So for example, here let's look at JAWS banner or back user, yeah, or any table you want. Select the table and then select get the column. Wow, here we got the back user with the column. So for example, I will select ID, name, username, and the password. And I will select get data based on the table called back user. This is just for testing. You could actually do more exploration based on the findings. So after you have found this or select the table and the columns, you could just select get data. And here you can actually see that we were able to get the data, which include the username and the password. Okay, so this is the one. So easy, right? You can just right click and you can actually insert the row if you want, or you can just select to save the data. So it'll be selected. Let's put it somewhere in documents. We just call it as, let's say, Joomla. Yeah, it will be saved there. So you can actually open it by looking at the file, which is joomla.html, and this is what you got. Yeah, so Havich Pro, and then we got the username, the ID, and the password. So the password, you got two different password. One password, but in different format. One is perhaps MD5, if I'm not mistaken, and this is base64, if I'm not mistaken. You can check again later. Okay, so this is how you do use the Havich. Yeah, it's a lot easier than the SQL map, but of course there are some plus minus with this particular tool. Some features are not available on Havich, and some are available on SQL map. So just to repeat, this is how you actually do the injection on SQL map. And you have to know the exact options to be used if you want to take advantage or utilize SQL map. Perhaps in the next video I will explain on how to actually use SQL map to extract database tables and of course the data, right? Okay, so we have exploited the Bang using several SQL injection commands. We did the Joomla exploitation using AM blog vulnerabilities using the URL earlier. And now let me just close this one, not to be confused. Now let's look at bad store. Okay, so before we start with looking at or exploring bad store to find vulnerabilities manually, let's look at the result of our attack. And notice that Joomla has several vulnerabilities like cross-site scripting, SQL injection. Okay, we will leave this finding first. And then here for 253, which is the bad store, we also found cross-site scripting, SQL injection, directory browsing, and so on, as you can see here. Okay, SQL injection. Okay, and then let's check the let's check the Bang. We also found several vulnerabilities which can be exploited later on by doing the manual exploitation. Okay, so let me repeat. Earlier we used the Zoom scan, and also we use the other tools like SQL map as well as Havich. Now for this third target, yeah, we can actually do manual exploitation by looking at this. So for example, in login, you could also do the same thing. Like for example, we can try admin single quote or 1 equals to 1 dash dash. For testing, you can put any password you like, whatever, and click login, and it shows me the error. Oh, it's running Microsoft SQL. From the error message, I can see that it's running database MySQL, and it's actually running the CGI. Yeah. Okay, so our attack was not successful. Yeah. Let's go back. What if I use a different SQL injection or pattern, like admin single quote, or you put single like for example x equal to x, but do not put the closing quote. Yeah, so this is another one, and you put any password you like and see if it work or not. See, it works, right? So by using this SQL injection, a bit different than the previous one, we found that we could actually log on successfully as a master system admin, right? So since we already have the system admin access, high privilege, perhaps you could actually do more things. Like for example, most of the time I would actually do the changes or some changes here on the URL. In the URL, I could actually do, like for example, what if I put action equals to admin, means administrator, and press enter, or do something like let's say login, action login, or action equals to, let's say, admin without the administrator. Yeah, so change this to admin, and oops, we found a secret administration menu, which actually allows us to do a lot of things like view sales report. Click do, see if it works. Go back, it works, right? What if we select, let's say, show current users, and we also found email address, password hint, and others, including full name and role, right? Okay, that's how we found things. And then we could actually also try something else. Like for example here, let's go to sign guestbook. Yeah. So here you can just do the test, X access or cross-site scripting test. You put a script, email, let's say hacker@mail.com, and then you put the script as I've already explained in my previous video. Alert, this time we will put like document.cookie, which will actually show the or prompt us with the cookie of the document, then /script to end the script, and see what happened. Click add entry. If it successfully exploited, yeah, it will actually store the script on the database. So everyone who visit this guestbook will get affected. Yeah. Okay. So press add entry, and I would select my sign guestbook again, and then put something else, like for example my name, Sammy, and email, sammy@mail.com, and put test message. and click entry. It looks like it's not actually executing correctly or executed correctly. Never mind. Yep. Let me see what's actually the problem. Let's try again one more time. For example, hacker1 at mail.com. Put the script alert. Let's say XSS detected, and click entry. Maybe because the browser actually block it. I'm not sure. So we did not successfully exploited the cross-site scripting vulnerability. Okay, now let's exploit other vulnerabilities. Yeah, let's see what we can actually do. Remember that I explained to you earlier that we could actually use OWASP ZAP as our proxy. Yeah? But it will take a while to actually understand on how to use the proxy. Let me see if I can actually show you this one. You close this one. We don't need this. Takes a while to close. Also the other one. And another one. Now, okay, still trying to close or shut down. Okay, let's launch this web application analysis OWASP ZAP, and this time we will use OWASP ZAP as the proxy. Okay. To use OWASP ZAP as a proxy, which is actually the default settings for OWASP ZAP, you will need to configure the proxy. Let's go to Tools, Options, and select, let's find Proxy. Let me see, where is it? Okay, local proxy. By default, is the address is localhost. You can push any, put any port, like for example 4444 or 5555, whatever, and then select add. Oops, sorry. You need to add a port. Yeah, so for example here is 4444, add. This is actually the default one. Oops, sorry, I need to disable all and perhaps remove this one. By default, the proxy is 4444, and just leave it by default. Let's say 4444, and make sure that your browser, you need to go to your browser. I'll close the other website. Let's focus on this bad store. So first you need to go to, since this is a Mozilla Firefox, you need to go to Preferences and scroll down up to Network Proxy and select Settings, and then select Manual Proxy. The same thing, you can put localhost or 127.0.0.1 and then the proxy, which is 444 that we have already set on our OWASP ZAP. Okay, and close it and refresh. Check if we can actually see this in our OWASP ZAP. Yeah. Let me see here. Yeah, here. If we can actually see our website, okay, it means our ZAP proxy is ready to actually capture the request and response. Okay, so let's go back to this one, and then let's try to actually create or even do a register for a new account. Like for example, full name Sammy Yulianto, my name. Email address could be anything, and the password, like for example, pass 12345. And you can put any, like blue. And before you click register, you'll need to actually capture this by turning on the request and response. Yeah. Let me see, there is one. Yeah, there's a set break on all requests and response, the red circle here or button. And once it is turned on, then we click register, and notice that let me see, we put a break, and then we can actually see the full name, the variables here, our or my email address, my password, and my PW hint. And notice the role here. Remember that previously we saw, if you look at my previous example, we could actually what do you call this, see the let me just copy this and open another tab. Remember when I put like action equals to admin, we could actually see the list of users and password, right? And notice that when we check our variable, and I saw that the role was set to you. It might be U, which represent user rather than admin. Let's try to actually change this to A. Maybe we can get the access as the admin. So let me copy this one and put it somewhere here in our notes. So for example, the original one was U, and we changed this to the same thing. I mean the same list of variable, and we change this to, let's say for the role specific to this role, we change to A. Okay, and once you have changed this, make sure that you remove the break, unset break on all requests and response, or requests and responses, and go back to your browser and then click register. Okay, and let's see, I think I need to select or remove the break here. Submit step to next request and response, or continue. Just select continue. That's it. And you can see it goes back, and then I was able to log on as Sammy Yulianto. And then let's try to change this. Remember previously I've shown you on how to change the URL. Action equals to register to action equals to admin, and see if we can actually see this one. View report. See the same thing. I could also select show current user, and notice that my role, let's see, it was actually the result of, these are actually the result of Zap scanner. If you search for Semi, I saw that one. Let's see, let's search Semi. I can't really find Semi here. I'm not sure why. It's supposed to be here. Let's scroll down. Well, I'm not sure why Semi is not shown. But anyway, we were able to actually create a user and escalate the user level to admin. And then by also changing this URL from action equals to register to action equals to admin. Okay, so those I have shown were actually the examples of how we can actually exploit some known or even unknown vulnerabilities on different websites. Okay, specifically website that has the application running on it, yeah, or we can just call it as web application. Okay, so if you go back to this one and look at the notes, go to the lab. Yeah, we have successfully did the information gathering or the application analysis by using uh, earlier the tool like WhatWeb, and we did the vulnerability scanning using the OWASP ZAP, and we did manual exploitation on the three website here. Yeah, three websites here, and we found some vulnerabilities. You can actually do a list or create a list of vulnerabilities, findings. For example, number one is SQL injection, cross-site scripting maybe. Oh, I forgot. We did not, or we were not able to actually exploit cross-site scripting, or perhaps other like broken authentication, and etc. Yeah, you can write down the findings, and you can refer the or map this finding to your OWASP top 10, SANS top 25, and Web AppSec threat classification. Okay. All right. So I think it's quite clear on how to do the step by step. You could actually repeat these steps by using different targets. So basically you can use different tools on doing the information gathering, vulnerability analysis, as well as manual exploitation by exploring the applications, the websites, which are your targets, and then write the findings. By the way, you could actually ask or email me regarding my book. I actually wrote a book really regarding the or about writing an effective penetration testing report, which could be downloaded for free. I'm actually providing this for a community as a community service, and I hope that you enjoy my video, my book, and give me some feedbacks and comments, or feedbacks, comments are really welcome. I would like to hear from you about the videos that I have already created, and see you next time on the next video. All right. Thank you guys.